All right, welcome everybody. Today it's another day of me trying to learn data structures and algorithms so I can finally land a job. So at this moment, I remember watching some videos about what are the core things I should try to consistently work on in order to really get most of the algorithms. And I think that four that were mentioned was sliding window technique, depth first search, breadth first search, and maybe two pointers. But I need to start reading more and more information in terms of what is like the best algorithms to learn at this moment. I think I've seen sliding algorithms, or I have experience dealing with sliding algorithm problems from a number of interviews that I've done over the past couple of months, and I never really got them, to be honest. But I do recall reading this a little bit, and it started to make sense of how it works. So I'm gonna go on lead code. There's like a number of different things I can go on to, but I wanted to practice like a lot of easy ones and then work my way up to hard. But it seems like there's more medium to hard ones than easy ones. So I don't know. What does this mean? Does this mean I don't know how many times I can do it with a free plan? I think I got a free plan. Let me look at premium for a second here. Oh shit, $39 a month. Holy crap. I didn't mean to curse. Holy bejesus. $39 a month. All right, fine. But let's at least try to solve this. Should I do it in Python? I need to get good at my Python skills, so let's try to do it in Python. So what does it say here? I don't like that it's so far away. Should I squeeze it down? If I squeeze it down, given an integer array, nums and k integer return true if they're distinct. One I and j in the array such that nums equal nums and absolute I versus minus j equals less than kj. All right, so there's the integers array and nums, and there's a k integer. And it should return true if there are two distinct indices, I and j in the array, such that I and j are the same, and if you minus them, they will be less than k. So I and j, two indices. So indices is meaning like the index for any array. And the return should be true. Okay, so when you go from it's basically saying comparing each indexes. So index 0, index 1, index 1, index 2, and then minusing them and making sure that if they are the same, or if they are like less than or equal to k, or they're the same. This is the thing that's sort of confusing me, because at least in this example, there's only one that will actually be the same. So it's going to hit one, try to find something that's the same as that. Then it will check, minusing these two things will be less than or equal to 3. But my thinking is, if this was 4 or even 1,000, and you put 1,000 minus 1,000, it will always be 0. So they will always be true. Let me see if there's one that's false. Let me see this. So I and j, if there's two in the array such that nums I and nums j are equivalent. The values are equivalent. And if you subtract them, the end result will be less than or equal to k. I'm super lost here. Wouldn't they always be zero? Let me see here. So this was like 1, and then it goes down the line, and this is I, 1 is I, and then it first starts with like j, and j is going to be I, and that's 1 to 1, and then it's going to do absolute, that'll be 0. Then it'll be 1 to 2, and that would be false, and 1 to 3, that would be false, 1 to 1, that would be true, and then the minus, it'll be 0. Right? And then you eventually go into 2. So that would be the index of 1. And then you go for j, that would be the index 0. So 2 to 1 will be false. 2 to 2 will be true. And 2 minus 2 is 0. Am I getting this incorrectly? I might be getting this incorrectly. I am not understanding. So how would this ever be false if we're comparing, if there are two distinct indices? Yeah, they don't have to be the same, but the values have to be the same. And it says I and j in the array such that nums I is equivalent to nums j, meaning they're both the same value. And the absolute value is this. But from what I'm gathering, how would this be false? The only reason why I think it would ever be false is if there's not because now I'm looking at the array, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So, for every one, or for every value, there's already something within this value. There's already something within the array that matches. So, is it supposed to be false if it doesn't match? Or if the value is not less than or equal to j? I'm thinking that's what it's pretty much saying. If they cannot find a value, so I should automatically should I automatically assume it's true? Should I automatically assume it's false? Yeah, I think it should automatically be assumed false. And if there's any, is this saying if there's any that no? Because this will always be true. It should be automatically assumed to be true. So I'll put I'll put result to be, I think you have to capitalize F. And I will loop through them. And I'll call this in or something. Should I loop through? Should I do a for each? I don't even know how to do a for each. You'll do for each that way. Can I do in nums? Let me look at Python. I'm trying to get my Python game up. I'm not all the way there. Okay, okay, there's no such thing as a for each loop. You just have for in. So what's a for loop? Let me see. Or maybe there's no such thing as for loops. There's just probably like a while. Has to be the data type, string, blah, 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 tuple sets, while loops and for loops. Yeah, just file it for loops and while loops. And matches. Right. I wonder if there's a way you can get the index of. Let me put Python get index of list. Yep. So let me just see this. Item defined banana. My list to index, item to find index. Do I really need index for this? Maybe I can just do another for loop. I'll just put, and I'll put, or I could put this ij, like I said, I and j. J in nums. And if I in j is equivalent to j and absolute of I and j minus j is less than and equal to k, input result. See, because the thing is, at least it's telling me this might be so super stupid to do. But my thinking is maybe make an array where I start pushing them, and if this is true and all the results are true, well, all the results wouldn't be true. But there could be situations where this will be true and then I just break out of this loop, then go, yeah, I have this idea here where I will go through these two loops and pretty much check, okay, is there anything that matches this? Good. But is there anything? No. If there's anything that matches this, no. And if there's anything that says no, then I will put true. So If there's anything that matches no, I will add an array and put 0. And then toward the end, I'll say, is there anything that has 0? And if it does have 0, then I'll say, okay, then mark true. That's where my head's at with regards to it, because now I'm thinking, okay, so I need to get lists and figure out how to create a new list. And because I know you can append, you can do push within a JavaScript. Okay, they call it append. So I'm going to call it I'm going to call it duplicate. Because I needed another thing I need to do is determine when this doesn't meet, because it's fine if it does meet. But if it doesn't meet the expectation, how do I know this will be the end of this list? You see, that's the question I have. Maybe I should get the index of the item and then get the length. How do you get the length of? Python get length list. I think it's just len, right? Yeah, len. So, and the index is index item defined. So another thing I would do is, now this is probably the dumbest way. I'm going to eventually look into how they do it, but I'm going to put like this. I'm going to have a variable called maybe I'll call it result list. And make it this. And I'll put result list append, and I will put this as 1. And then I will have another condition that will check if this is like the end of J. So I'll put like J. What did you see? I think I saw nums dot index J is equivalent to the length of nums, and if it is, then I will put result list dot append 0. And I also will break, I don't know if you can break out of loops with this. You can just use break. I don't know. Let's see. Because that's my, see, I have such a JavaScript mind that I don't know if like all these things you can do. You can do break. You can do break in Python. Okay. So let's try to break out of this. And then I append this. And then once everything runs, oops, I will then try to find if there is an O. So one thing I need to do is how to check value in list. I check if value exists in list. Okay, so then I'll just do this. I'll say true. Oh, I'll put false if 0 in result list, else true. And this will be the return. So just to recap, I don't think this is big enough. Now I'm looking at it. I don't think this is big enough for people to see. Let's move this down. Let's move this down. Is it big enough? Uh-oh. My thing is having a seizure. Bigger? Okay. I think this looks pretty good. I just realized no one's going to be able to see it. So here's my logic behind this. I'm pretty sure there's all these errors because I'm not really that good in Python, but I'm trying to get better at Python. So the conditions are, it's going to return true if there's any type of, they can find any indexes that are the same, any indexes that have the same value. So it's going to loop through, so obviously 0. Then it goes 0. Oh, is this 0, 0, 1? Okay, cool. We're going to pin this and break out of it. And then it's going to go into 0 and 0 and 1 and say, is this the same? No. Okay. Is this the same? No. Is this the same? Yes. And just break out of it. Well, actually, it'll just break out of this loop. And then it will go to here, 1, which is going to be 2. And then 2 of 0. Is this the same? No. Is this the same? Yes. And then break out the loop. Then it'll go to here, 3. And then say, so this will be of 2 for I. And then it goes into this. Is this the same? No. Is this the same? Actually, I see a big problem with this. Actually, I see a big problem with this. If num's I and j, but obviously if it always goes into 2 to 2, and that'd be distinct indices. So I and j has to be true, and I and j has to be different indexes. So we have to put like I index, like I just did right here. So we have to put I'll put index. Maybe put, whatever, doesn't matter. I put num dot index I. And then we'll put j index, so that'd be distinct from each other. And we'll put nums dot index j. So now we have to do I index is not equal to j index. Okay, so now this should work, because there's going to be a point when it gets to 3 where it's going to try to find another index that matches 3, and if it can't find 3, then it will just pin 0. And there's anyone that pins 0, then it's like, okay, I think it's supposed to return true. This is supposed to return true. If you find anything where it has a 0, it's supposed to be true as opposed to false, actually. Because if everything is, they can find 1-to-1 for every value, then every value is going to have 1. Yeah, and I think that's where I'm gonna go with it. And I guess we'll test it out. Do I press run? Oh, wait a second. Invalid syntax? Which one is the invalid syntax? Maybe this? Could it be that? Let's see. Ah, you can't do this in here? Okay. If not, in lane, no, what is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to add this. Okay. Unindents does not match outer indentation level. Okay. Jesus. Did that fix it? I don't know if that fixed it. Let's see. Wrong answer. Damn. I got one of them right. This was actually supposed to. So wait a second. Why would that not work? Let me think this through here. So this will be 0 and this will be 0. But if it's 0 and 0, they're the same, but this will break eventually until it hits this one, which would be the index of 3. And this will append, which would mean 1. And then the next one will happen 2. And then it will go down here, but this will hit 0. It should hit 0. I should put is greater than or equal to, maybe. I think it'll still be the same situation, right? It's not going to change, right? Let me think this through. So if I is 3 and it goes through here and it's checking, okay, this is 1, so this is not going to work. This is 2, it's not going to work. This is 3, it's not. This is 1, this is not going to work. So it should append 0. And if one of them is 0, it should say, hey, maybe I'm tripping. I have to be tripping. Because 0 is supposed to essentially say true. There's 2 of these things are not within, there's not a one-to-one or an additional duplicate within it. The index, maybe I'm doing, what could I be doing exactly wrong here? The value is the same. And I index and J index are not the same. And the absolute of I and J is less than or equal to K. Append this as true. There is a one-to-one comparison. There is a duplicate. But they're basically saying, okay. Hit 0. Maybe I'm doing the index wrong. What could be happening? What could be happening? Well, let's do it this way. The best thing we can do is, oh, this is a good one. Well, it's an easy one. I'm still getting my ass beat by this. Oh, I need to stop cursing. I'm not doing well. And let me just see. Let me turn this off real quick here. Let me just do this one thing here. And I'll put, I don't know if you need to put a $sign. I don't think you do. I'll put I and J are the same. I wonder if I can do that and it will print it out. So I can't actually see the results if I do this. Oh, well, this was a pretty good brain teaser for me. I need to get these sliding windows down pat, and clearly I don't have them down pat. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm going to keep working on this until I become an expert at this.